I feel like before you go into property, make sure you have a real grounding of reality. Property is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I promise you that now. Yes, we've grown from the first year, but we are not millionaires.
If you tell me, if I ask you a question of how to do something and you tell me how to do it, I understand that if you're doing it so well, I won't be able to do it like you. When someone asks me how to do something, I'm more than happy to tell you, because how much is it worth to you? We'll continue to do that. But I don't believe in gatekeeping information, because it's like, if they don't get it from you, they'll get it from somewhere else.
So do you think mentorships are exactly what they say they are?
People don't actually really want to help you. They just want to bring you into the community, and then you're kind of left to your own devices.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I feel like what I'm not going to ignore is that these are the same people that will ask me questions about things.
Yeah.
These are this is not someone who just watch our stories. But I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know, as a person of ethnic minority, where you are going to fit in and where you will not fit in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, as soon as I walked past that glass, I said there ain't
And
no
we could
way.
go in there and
Welcome to the Property Project podcast, where we talk all things property, but also help you to resolve some of the dilemmas that you come up with.
But before you do that, we'd love if you could help us by liking the video, subscribing to our channel so you could get more content from us.
I started my service accommodation journey in February and handed it over to a management company after seeing their results and testimonials. Before they took over, they told me that I would get X amount of profits every month with their management strategies. We're now in August and I'm yet to receive any of those profits so far, and I've only broke even 1 month since starting with them. What should I do?
You need to have a chat with them. You actually need to have a chat with them. And I feel like, I don't know if you're like maybe too nice, or you don't like conflict, or you're just trying to avoid that conversation altogether. But you need to have that conversation, because it's not just hurting you, it's hurting your business. You've invested in something and you're not getting your money back.
Yeah.
And sometimes that does happen, but you're not being told why it's happening. I think you definitely need to have that conversation, to have an open, give them an opportunity, the management company, to explain as to why things are gone, have not really worked out the way that they said or they should have worked out. After that, then you should have more clarity on whether it's actually working for you. Speak to other management companies as well, just to find out, kind of get a general consensus of what they're doing, what the management company that you've got currently are doing well and not doing well. Maybe communication's an issue or something like that. But yeah, I think first of all, you need to be booking in that call. You need to be booking in that call and finding out exactly what's the situation and what have they been doing to rectify that situation, basically.
I think two things as well. Number one, there should be some sort of monthly review. That doesn't need to be on a phone call or anything. That could just be on a little spreadsheet database where, like, you see the numbers and then they comment on how the month has been doing. For example, again, we've not made profit. We've tried this method to see if this will work, but this hasn't done anything. So next month we'll be trying this. If you see what's happening within the property and why you're not making the profit, sometimes it helps you to understand a little bit more from the perspective of the management team. You're not always going to hit profits as a management team. And I can give you an example of that. We work with an investor. He's so kind. He's so patient with us. We have a great relationship with him. I mean, we wouldn't choose anyone better to kind of work with. He's just brilliant, right? And a part of that is that for one project, he gave us 11,000 and something pounds to set up the 4-bed.
Oh, it wasn't that much.
How much was it?
It was like 9.6.
Sorry, there we go.
You're just making up numbers.
And the second property gave us 6,000 and something.
6.9.
Okay, so the one that was the most, the 9,000 whatever, he made his money back in 7 months. That was easy. Like, we've been giving him profit after profit, and I'm talking he's been hitting 4K months in profit, like, each month.
That's after we've taken our management fees.
Yeah, which was, at the moment, it's 10% to be fair.
Oh, yeah,
but that's after all bills and stuff is paid, because obviously the investor needs to get their money back. So we do 90-10 and now we're at 50-50 because his 7 months is over and he's been returned back his money. So that has worked great. We are the same managers for his other property, and that property has not made him all his money back. And to be honest, we think we know possibly why that
Why?
could be, and we're making those changes and we're making those amendments. But for him, the important thing, everything he feeds back to us is the fact that we are super transparent as to why we are not hitting those numbers. We are hard on ourselves because it's not my money that went into it, it's someone else's.
Yeah.
And when it's someone else's money in that, you've got to treat it like it's your own, because
Yeah.
how do you sleep at night? I
Yeah.
hate owing people money. Why would you sleep? Don't sleep if you owe someone money.
There's some people out there
Literally.
that have borrowed money from people and
Don't
don't
care.
really care
They
whether
don't
they get it
care.
back or how they
They
get it
don't
back.
care.
Like, I'm sorry, but if we knew, if like that second one that you're talking about,
Yeah.
it hasn't worked out as that bad. It
No,
could have been so
it's
much
still
worse,
okay,
but
but
we know for our standard,
it's not the best
yeah,
in
it's one of
comparison
our
to all
slowest
our.
starters.
Yeah, it probably is the slowest
The
starter out of
slowest. Do
all
you know
of
what I
our
mean?
properties.
There's been times where it has done really well, but then again, it's like I don't know
Yeah,
in comparison to
to
others. But
others.
it's just one of those ones where we're not sleeping or we're not resting. We're trying so many different things. We're fixing the listing. We're fixing, looking at practicality.
Yeah,
Does it make sense? Like,
yeah,
do we need to put in any of our own money to change things to make
yeah,
sure that it's performing well? Do
yeah.
you know what I mean?
But
There's some
more
people that
important,
don't care, and I just
yeah,
don't
don't
understand
get
that.
that. But more importantly, it's about that being communicated to the investor. So, do I think it's wrong that you haven't made profit? Well, wrong is the wrong word. Do I think it's unusual that you haven't made profit in a certain amount of months? I don't know how many months. You said the start of the year and it's now August, so you're 7 months in. It's
You've
not
experienced
unusual.
all, well, pretty much all of the. You're coming to the end of the summer month.
Summer should have generated you some sort of profit. So I'm saying in one aspect it's not unusual. Usually you get your SA profits, SA investment back between anything from like 8 to 10 months.
Yeah,
Worst
I
case
think that's fair to say.
scenario, 12 months. Worst case scenario, 12 months. I
Worst
mean,
case, yeah.
we've hit
So
7 months. Again,
yeah,
that's really, really good, but also sometimes unusual. You usually hit that 9 month, 10 month mark. So I'm not saying it's something that the property managers are doing, but just be mindful that it's not unusual to not get profit back within that time, but you're saying you're not getting any profit and you've only just broken even. That's where full transparency needs to come in. You need to be asking the questions about why is that, but also more importantly, what are you doing to fix it? Because I need to know whether I need to come out of that deal as an investor. If that deal is not serving me, why should I be moving forward with
yeah.
it? But more importantly, I need to determine whether it's you as property managers or if
If
it's
it's the
the
deal,
deal itself.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think those are the things that you need to kind
And I
of
think
focus on.
yeah, like again, like just speaking to the managers, having the open air conversation where you can talk about everything, and then also just kind of speaking with other people in the area.
Yeah.
As you said about the deal, whether it's a good deal, you won't know a deal always looks good on paper, but sometimes speaking to other people who are operating in that area or people that have like-minded, like what do you call it, comparables or whatever. That's how you can find out whether your deal actually stacks up or whether it's like maybe your rent's too high or your bills are too high, or I don't know, like you're overpaying for a certain service that you don't actually need. So again,
Yeah.
you just need to have a conversation. It all starts from that conversation, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. I think that's usually always our answer. Try to be as transparent as possible. And I think that just goes across the board. But yeah, I think try that first. Also, don't be afraid to fire people, because it's something we were afraid to do. But I'm so glad
Yeah,
we've now learned the art of firing people when they don't serve our business. It's nothing personal. And I think explain that it's nothing personal. Be really honest and sensitive with the situation. But you don't have to keep someone on just because. Like, I
yeah.
think keep
You don't
somebody
owe them
on.
nothing.
Exactly. They need to be generating money for your business. And if they're not, then they're not the right person for you. And if it's more about the deal, they should be telling you that as property managers that actually this is not going to work for you. It's not going to bring back your money. I would come out of it as soon as possible.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
fair enough.
Which brings
But
me on
yeah,
to the property culture.
culture of
The
property,
culture.
the culture,
Brr.
the
Yeah.
culture. But yeah, man,
There's a lot to say about this one.
what state is it in right now?
I feel like it's not the realest place to be. I think it's a very blessed community. I think I love the fact that I see so many people about faith, like connected to faith. I love the fact that I see so many people who talk positively. I love the fact that everybody's experience is similar in some shape or form,
Yeah,
although it can be really different. Everybody's journey is different, but you can have similarities between you, and that's what connects you as a community. But I also think it's a very, very toxic place, and I
yeah,
think it brings in a lot of toxic people, who I feel like before you go into property, make sure you have a real grounding of reality. a lot of people go into property and either get rich quick, which I always have questions about because property is not a get rich quick scheme. I promise you that now. We're in our second year of business. Yes, we've grown from the first year, but we are not millionaires like we were told we would be.
But then, yeah. I feel
So,
like if you're, so just keep what you got. But I feel like if you are grounded in reality, you understand that in business, like your first year, you're gonna make mistakes, and
yeah,
it's a lot of like you're gonna make losses.
yeah,
The next one is like where the next year is where you're not
finding a
even you're
system.
finding
You're
systems. You're
trying to
not you
be
haven't even
leveled.
systemized, but you're steadying the ship.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then
The third year is
the
where you
first year, you
always
start
that's
to,
where your profit and your the lifestyle should start to come into it.
yeah.
That's you every time I
I
speak
wouldn't
to
even say
people.
third year. I would put them in phases.
Yeah.
I'd put them in
Okay.
phases. So the first phase is where you're putting in a lot of money into the business, and you're not getting much out. It didn't like, but you have to stay true to it. The next phase two, is kind of where you're seeing bits of profit, and you're kind of like you're analyzing things to see where you can cut back, where you could do more and stuff like that. And then the third phase is where everyone wants to be, where you're getting the money, you're not really having to do too much in the business. You know, you can be creative because you've got free time and stuff like that. So I think it's more phases rather than the that years.
Yeah.
But again, that
I
obviously
do see the
yeah,
common thing of like the third year of the business is where people start to see the benefits. But
yeah.
I also don't think that also means that you're going to be a millionaire on the third year, by the way. But I think exactly how you described it is perfect. Is that see it more so as phases and that will help you. But I do think people are not in touch with reality within, like some people are not in touch with reality within the property business.
Yeah.
And that's why they either spiral or lose their business quite quickly or they do things that are not morally correct within their business. And that sometimes puts me off the property world. I find it very difficult to make connections with people in the property
Oh
world.
yes, I was gonna
Yeah.
literally gonna say that.
Yeah.
I feel like as I was saying, like I would love to do more networking, and I have a funny thing about sometimes when I meet new people, I struggle to meet new people sometimes because I don't know what your intentions are.
Yeah.
Are you just speaking to me because I can do something for you? And which I don't like, to a certain degree I don't mind, because I feel like people are there to be used, just not abused.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
no, but I honestly feel like a lot of our friends we're friends with because they do something for us, and it doesn't mean it's of monetary value or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like you might actually just be a friend that
That
I
listens
need,
in
that
or
listens and
like,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but then I felt like, again, an example of like when we was in a mentoring group, and I think we spoke, or we had the chance to shine a light on the successes that we had at that time, the early success. All of a sudden, we had a lot of people that were talking to us,
Yes.
and I had a lot of people that will come and speak to me or message me and stuff like that. And you would think that, you know, on the basis of it, we would go on to form good friendships, but shortly after, once you don't really hear from me or not hear from me directly, but hear about the successes that we are having, those people kind of disappeared. And it just made me think twice about the type of people that I am mixing with. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, some people just aren't really transparent in why they're connecting with you. Do you know what I mean? I
I
don't know. Am I
agree.
being too
No,
like
no,
kind
I
of?
do agree with you. I feel like I find it very difficult to make genuine connections, just like being honest. And like it doesn't mean that I don't necessarily like people. It just means that I'm not always sure whether the connection is genuine. Like I said something in one of the previous podcasts about, they're like, you're smashing it, you're smashing it. It's like, what do you actually know that I'm smashing? Because it's not like you're asking me about my property
Yeah,
journey.
you
It's not
don't
like
know
you're
about
catching
the
up with me.
struggles
It's not
that.
like we're going for a coffee and you're like, oh my God, what did you struggle with this week? How can I help you? Like, or like, what did you do? And like, oh, I saw that you did this. This was amazing. Like, I feel like when you hit, for example, if we put something about bookings, that we hit a 15K booking and we got 6 grand at this month, like all of a sudden, you guys are doing, how did you do this? Messages, messages, messages. How did you get these bookings? How did you? But then if we're just doing general things and it's just like, for example,
Or if we, yeah.
I know the people, and I'm sorry to put this on blast because you might tell me off, the people that watch our stories as soon as it's posted, but never ever say congratulations to us.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever, ever have a positive word to
To
say
say.
back to us, and act as if, sometimes even going to as far as acting as if they don't know who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that to me is wild. And
Yeah.
we're people who, like, as soon as, yes, I might not always feel like the connection is genuine from your side, but I do want you to know that you feel support. We support you, because
Yeah.
you're not competition to me and I'm not competition to you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, I do like being completely transparent. I do like to know that I'm on the right path by measuring what other people are doing, which you shouldn't do.
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't do, but I also think it's very human. But yeah, I do think I've noticed a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, a few people who watch our stories, that I'm talking, as soon as I post it, it's almost like they got us on alerts.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
soon
Yeah.
as I post it and I go up and I see, oh, like, who's had a look today?
Yeah.
Because the purpose of doing that is so I can interact with people who've engaged in our posts, or it's for business wise, right? I
But
will
then you're
look and
seeing the
it's the
same name.
same flipping people watch day in, day out. Since we started getting they saw the climb from like the first property, and then all of a sudden we've got 4 properties, and all of a sudden we've got 10 properties. Them people there, but haven't said nothing in the DMs or had nothing to say, but interact with me on another basis
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
whatever other reason, whether it's like another business situation or
Yeah. Yeah.
some
Yeah.
sort of
Talk to you
exchange,
about something else.
something else,
But
but
then.
never act as if they know what's going on in our property journey.
Yeah.
That for me is a no-go.
Yeah.
And you will have a lot of people who do that as you climb up and as you become someone, because I think for one of two reasons, they're either measuring their success against yours, or number two, which sometimes isn't a bad thing. Sometimes it's like, oh, they're doing that, that inspires me to do more. Or, you know, we're on the same path, I love the fact that we're on a similar journey. Or actually, they're slightly behind me, I wonder if there's anything I can do to help. Sometimes it's not always malicious. Or the second reason is, and it's sad to say, it's not for good intentions. I feel like it's to watch you to almost, how am I trying to say this?
Copy off of.
To use the stuff that you have, but not give you the credit.
Not credit you. How would you do that then? Because I guess a lot of people in business say that in order to be successful, you copy what's working and then
1000%, but you
and
give
replicate
credit.
it.
You don't stay silent. I'm a
Yeah.
big believer of, like, I will never say, even the mentorship that we went on to begin with, we had one and then we had another, but the second one was the main one that helped us with everything,
Yeah.
right? I will always say the knowledge was 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's just that we never had actual support.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
I feel give credit where credit is due. Be able to separate things. You might not like the person, but what the person has given you might be really helpful.
Yeah.
You might not have interacted in the service that they've given you, but the work that they've given you is like really good, or 10 out of 10. Or you interacted with one person in that service that they provided, and that one person helped you to change your life. Give credit where credit's due.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what people struggle with in the property world. There's a lot of fakeness of people liking to, that's what I'm saying about that cigar thing. Why you
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
smoked
Yeah.
cigars 2 months ago? And I'm not saying you can't change your habits,
Yeah.
but I feel like
you just associate it with success, and all of a sudden now you want
now
to
you want
start
to smoke cigars.
smoking cigars.
Like, like, for me, it's just like,
Yeah.
and I'm going on about that because I feel like, again, for me, I pick up on cues, social cues, behavioral cues, like, and for me, and again, it's an assumption. It's like, you would not be doing that if you only had what you had before.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel
You
like
never would
money
have
should
picked
bring
up
out,
Yeah.
what you already have
Yeah.
and shine a light to it.
Or if you got your money a different way. If someone just handed you, let's say, 10 grand, you wouldn't go out and get yourself a pack of cigars. Do you know what I mean? You just want to show off.
To show, like, it's almost like you're just attaching that to richness. So
Yeah.
I do think the property world is very fake. I feel like, honestly, I do have, not, I wouldn't say I have trust issues, but I have a very small network because I find it very hard to build other relationships that I think I can just smell lack of genuineness. Like, I
Yeah,
really don't mess with that.
You can smell it when people are kind of
Forcing
being
it.
vultures in the sense that they are just attaching onto people who
Or you might not even like,
have the success.
not even that.
right now.
I'm even saying, forget even about property. Like, any situation where I feel like I could be in the workplace and I feel like you're saying hello to me, but I know you are talking about me behind my back, or I know that you're you're saying hello to me to be nice, but the way in which you say it to me is not, it's not a warm way. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
there's one part assuming, but there's also, I'm a big believer of follow your gut feeling.
yeah.
Follow what your gut is telling you. If your gut is telling you that person's not a nice person, or that person's not going to be nice to you, follow it. And so in them kind of situations where we go networking, like I have, I met with someone who was asking us about some situations they had with a landlord.
Yeah.
She comes to me for any kind of advice. She doesn't use me though. She literally asks me questions.
Yeah.
She asks me questions, and she goes with, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
understand the relationship. I understand that she's here to learn. She's very respectful. She will like, thank you so much. I love that point of view. This is what I don't mind that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you start to play games like, you know, you want to, I've seen people literally copy our reels, how we interact with people, like the style in which we're like our banter. I feel like, why? I
Well,
actually, we could
to be
be
honest,
just,
I'm not even too worried about
yeah,
like that. You know what I mean?
you might not be, I am.
Yeah, yeah, I get it because obviously, like you're looking at it as well. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And you're seeing it, especially
yeah,
when you've worked hard at like putting something in
yeah,
place, and you see someone else kind of doing it. Will make you feel away. I think my thing has always just been like, again, I don't have a lot of new friends. So I was always kind of interested in like,
building new friends. I remember
building
you
new
saying that at the
friendships, you know
start.
what I mean? And I always remember like I don't know if I kind of said, but it was a friendship, a business, I say a business friendship that we kind of built with someone quite early on, and or that I built with someone quite early on. And I felt like, okay, we come from a different walk of life. Like, um
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, come from a different walk of life. But I feel like, you know
Two
what?
people together.
Yeah, but it was more
Yeah,
just the one in it.
yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, that's fine.
You come from a different walk of life, but the way that
Connect.
we
Yeah,
connect,
yeah,
or we connected.
yeah,
Like I feel like, you know what? We can actually be friends, not
yeah.
just
Business
business
partners.
friends
Yeah,
or
yeah,
business partners, but we can actually be friends.
yeah.
And then I feel like when it came to light of how you actually are as a person,
When crunch time comes to crunch
when
time.
shit hit the fan,
Yeah,
I think that's what kind of made me kind of retreat back
yeah.
and think, you know what, nah, you like
That
that situation there could be the
anyone.
same as
Yeah,
that's a lot of these other situations that I'm in at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah,
So therefore, I don't give a lot of people the time of day, and obviously, I think that's something I do need to kind of learn to kind of change again. But those are the types of situations that you have where you meet people, you think it's genuine,
yeah.
and they show their real selves.
That was a painful situation.
That
I
was
think we
yeah.
laughed. We've just laughed about it to not be.
If you don't laugh, you cry,
Do you
fam.
know what I actually thought the other
I wouldn't
day?
say
Because
cry, but like, do
something,
you know what I mean?
yeah, something popped up with them, and I almost felt bad. I almost felt bad because I was someone within that situation that would help them maneuver certain things within their relationship as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like that was a painful
It's
situation,
like
and I think we've not actually
we were
deeped it.
more
We've never
than
spoken about it fully.
business partners then.
Yeah, like mate, I'm helping you with other things, other
Yeah,
situations. When you're going through things, you're messaging me.
yeah, yeah,
And so I feel like to not, and I never want it to come across like we feel like we're perfect people. It's not that at all. But one thing I always stand by is me and you are actually flipping nice people. And for me, I think the property
too nice,
world
fam. Too nice.
will eat you up if you are too nice. And we've actually, now I'm actually mean again.
Yeah,
Like, not that I
yeah,
was ever mean, but I was always firm and didn't really care what other people viewed me as, and then that kind of toned down a bit, but I feel like now I have to tone it back up or turn it back up because
yeah,
I'm like, you're actually not going to keep taking the mick out of me.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that's the
I
issue
find
with the
that
property world.
a lot of people do that. Like, we wanted to do this thing where we were fair but polite,
But yeah,
or sorry, was it firm but polite?
yeah, yeah,
And we quickly realized that we couldn't do both of them.
it can't
And
work.
then we got to the point where it was like, you know what, don't worry about it, because we're the type of people that if we feel like if we're nice to others, others will be nice to us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It don't work
what
like that in
that
the
we
property
quickly
world.
realized that, you know what, yeah, it doesn't work like that. if you're nice to people, they just see how far they can,
Opportunity.
yeah, and they will walk all over you,
Yeah.
and they will even just like wipe their feet on you
Yeah.
as
And
they're
then bring
going
somebody
over.
else in to do the
Yeah,
same.
to do the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
That
and
is
it
the
makes
thing.
sense from I'm trying to think how I can. Yeah, do you know what? I'm not. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I was gonna bring in a situation, but I'm trying to think how to kind of talk about it in terms of not to out anyone. But again, it's just a thing where you can't be too. You can't. Yeah, you just have to kind of navigate almost just ruthlessly.
Yeah, it's
And
actually
it's
so
yeah. Do you know what I
it's
mean? And you
hard to
don't want to
do,
be like that.
and especially because it's like I'm a big believer of don't let somebody else's character or an incident with another person change your character. Always be the same person. If you're naturally a kind-hearted person, stay that way. If you're naturally somebody who um caters to other people, stay that way. If you're naturally someone who's a really good listener, stay that way. Don't let anybody's actions put you off being the person that you are. But
Hundred
at the
percent.
same time, I do think adapt to society, because sometimes those around you don't always want the best for you, and you have to put up your armor to protect yourself, and that's okay as well. It doesn't mean that you're no longer that person, or you're no longer that nice person that people, or sweet person. It's just that you're a kind person or a sweet person with boundaries.
Who doesn't take shit?
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
don't.
I think and I
Literally.
think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I do think, again, another thing within the property world is everyone holds everything so close to their chest,
Yeah.
and don't want to tell you. Some of that I understand. Like, we've had cleaners issues, and I think this is where it's fair. But now I'm finding it really hard to navigate. Is we used to share our cleaners all the time. You
Yeah.
need a cleaner? Here you go. And it would always end terribly. Why? Because the cleaners want the money, but they don't have the systems to manage a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so
And
easily
yeah.
the first people that it would affect is us, because we found them 1st, or we were one of the first people to find them. So their cleans would go downhill for us. The attitude would become an issue.
Because
Us
they're
raising
stressed because they're
things
taking on too much
to
work.
exactly. And so in situations like that, now we kind of do have to gatekeep our cleaners, because we're in a situation like where when we've shared it before, it's not gone well, and now we've gate kept gate. I
I
don't know
never
what
know
this.
which one. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we've like
Gate kept. I
yeah,
think.
like we'll keep it at that. Gate
Yeah.
kept. It's proven better for us in terms of longevity. They're
Yeah.
still not perfect in terms of the
Yeah.
cleaners. We're not expecting perfection, but you know what? They're accountable people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that we can deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a foundation, a basis to work off.
yeah,
But then I feel like when you're talking about people gatekeeping things, I think it then comes to even just certain bits of knowledge
yeah,
that
for
it's like,
sure,
you
for
know,
sure.
if you tell me, if I ask you a question of how to do something and you tell me how to do it, understand that if you're doing it so well, believe in your source. I won't be
Yeah,
able to do it like you.
yeah, defo.
And I feel like that's why when someone asks me how to do something, I will tell you
Yeah,
because
sometimes with a charge, but it will
yeah,
be told.
but yeah, exactly. Sometimes you might charge, but cool. I'm more than happy to tell you because how much is it worth to you? But
Yeah,
then even then, I might even just feed you a bit of information about it
yeah,
because I know that regardless of if you do it,
yeah,
we have our ways of doing it,
yeah, yeah.
and our ways are guaranteed to get us results. So we'll continue to do that. But I don't believe in keeping gatekeeping information because it's like if they don't get it from you, they'll get it from somewhere else
I
if
think
they
another
really want
thing as
to.
well is that I think there's a level, like, obviously they do say in order to have a good business, just copy the person who's done it before you, right?
Yeah.
But I think one thing that we're very good at is creating new strategies
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be copied, right?
yeah, yeah,
But again, property world, I just feel like sometimes it's a situation where they just take, and don't want to acknowledge. But do you know what? A positive thing about the property world is, though, there are a lot of group chats.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
if you don't find your answer one place, you can be hopeful about finding your answers in another
In
place,
another
because there
place,
are
yeah.
a few people or group
You're
chats
connected with
where
so many different people.
you can connect so easily, and that person can lead you to that person, that person can lead you to another person. So I think the connection within property is very, very good. For example, we're kind of in the process of taking on another property,
Yeah, yeah.
possibly, and through that we've now spoken to another company. They run a crazy amount of HMOs, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely someone I'd love to keep in touch with. I'd love to know a little bit more about what they do, get a lot of knowledge, but it's not in a way where I just want to drain them and get all the knowledge and then be like, bye. It's like, it's a really good connection to
Yeah.
have, because maybe we could possibly do business together. Maybe it's something that, you know, we specialize more in service accommodation, they specialize in HMOs. Maybe we can mix that at some point.
Yeah.
If I wanted someone to come and speak about something, I would definitely go and speak to them because they're established and know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's a very good way to connect with people, and it's a very, very small world. And I think a lot of people feel that a lot of the people at the top are untouchable, but actually they're very, very easy to get a hold of
Yeah.
and very easy to access. But having said that, back to a negative, is that there's a lot of exclusive places that everyone is dying to be at. A
Yeah.
lot of exclusive
Yeah.
places that people are like, oh my gosh, if I don't get invited to this,
Selling
I
their
am
soul.
not. We actually don't socialize. When's the last time we networked?
Supposed to go the other day.
Cancelled.
Cancelled because we had stuff to do.
Yeah, we did have stuff to do,
We had stuff to do.
to prioritize, but that also should have been a priority. But I think that's something also. How do I put it? We always get put off networking because it's just another. I even said it. We were gonna book another networking thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, it's just gonna be another thing where everybody smiles at everyone, and then it's like, oh yeah, let me take your number. Nothing comes to that because it's just like a thing to do. I don't think anyone really knows, including
Yeah.
us, how to network properly.
Yeah.
I think the
yeah.
people at the top know how to network properly because
Obviously,
they've
yeah.
practiced it.
Yeah.
But like those on kind of our level at the moment, I don't
It's just
think anyone
like-
knows how to network.
yeah.
It's kind of useless networking.
I remember
sometimes.
last time I went out to one, they asked me for. Obviously, naturally, just asked me for a business card, but it's like, it was weird. Like they asked me for a business card, and I was just like, no, pass me your phone.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I'll type
Yeah,
it in.
yeah, yeah.
But then I guess I don't know. I feel like at networking events, you should just kind of just speak to each other
Yeah,
and find out
yeah.
more about each other.
Yeah.
I understand you don't need to spend the whole day with them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But actually get to know. I feel like a lot of people, the whole card thing
Yeah.
was kind of like, oh, I'll speak to you for 10 seconds. All right, here's my
Here's
card.
card,
Speak to
yeah.
you for 10 seconds.
But
Here's
there's
my
no
card. Do you know what I mean?
purpose to it. There's no
Yeah,
intention
I don't
behind it.
remember you if you just shove the card.
Yeah,
like, you shove the
yeah,
card in my
yeah.
hand, like.
The amount of cards we've got that have ended up in the bin. No offense, not even
yeah.
on purpose, but it's like what do I do with
When you're
this?
cleaning up, you're just like, oh, what?
Yeah,
Alright,
and who
that's-
was this anyway? But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
things like that. I think there's a lot of exclusivity when it comes to like even parties where people are attending, where people are going.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
know. I think there's a lot of wanting to be in places, and if you're not invited to places, why you're not invited to places.
Yeah.
I think it's very and can I just say, I know not everything's about race, but sometimes I look at property places and I'll be like, you literally have 2 black people there. So I'm actually not going to go there because I don't feel included.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
went to some remember that networking we went to,
Oh,
and it was
my
all white people, and I thought there ain't no way. And I'm just being honest. Some people are gonna be in the comments and be like, "Why would you not go for white? Because that's racism, not going to." But I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know, as a black person or a person of ethnic minority, where you are going to fit in and where you will not fit in.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. As soon as I walked past that glass, I said, "There ain't
And
no
we could
way."
go in there and
There's no
code
way.
switch. We could code switch.
But I
defo.
mate,
But at the same time, it's like the need to have to do that is like we're not really feeling it.
Literally,
You know what I mean?
literally. It just wasn't it. And I
yeah.
think that's kind of sometimes an issue in the property world. And I guess a part of that is because maybe not a lot of people of ethnic minority backgrounds take the leap.
Yeah.
And yes, we could say there are a lot of people of Asian background who are in property. Yes, because I think they're incredibly smart when it comes to the property world.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have been doing and using strategies that other people haven't been using until we clocked onto it.
Yeah.
And even something as small as, like just retaining properties as a family,
As a
putting
fa-
all
yeah,
your money
yeah.
together as a family. Like, not a lot of cultures do that.
Yeah.
And I think they are ahead because of that. But I do also think a lot of black people are doing it in property as well. And I'm not always sure that that's fully represented.
Yeah.
And that can also be my issue in the property world. Is like, there's sometimes a question of not imposter syndrome. I'm not asking this because I don't believe I fit in, but I question, where do I fit in?
It's always like we're going to someone else's event and not feeling like we're going to one of our own events.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we're always fitting in to someone else's event.
Yeah.
I feel like
And that
there's a
can
lot
be
of
draining.
that. It is draining. Code switching and stuff like that. It's like trying to, you want to go somewhere where you can actually be yourself and feel
Explain
at home.
code switching.
Code switching, I'd say like as in I'm not sure. I've never actually been asked to explain it. I
Yeah.
just know what it is.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
kind of like more.
Kind of having to switch your culture to
Yeah, yeah.
adapt to somebody
Like
else's in
yeah,
order to fit in.
because if I speak to you in the slang that I normally speak to
You're not gonna.
everyone else in my culture, you're not gonna understand, and you might even pick up word, or someone else that's not in my culture might pick up the words that I'm saying, but not understand in the context in which I actually mean it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? So therefore, I've got a code switch to convey what I'm saying in a way that the other person will understand. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So that's what I mean by code switching. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. I feel like as much I think that's what's putting us off networking,
yeah.
and as much as we encourage other people to go out and
And network.
network,
We're struggling to do it
it's
because
yeah, it's what we did at the start,
yeah.
and a lot of the times we go to
Does
certain
anything come
places.
from that?
Which one?
Like networking at the start? Did we have anything that
Um,
came from it? Really?
I want to say yes indirectly. So kind of like just the confidence in order to
Yeah.
stand up. Like I
Yeah.
remember going to one networking event in Croydon, and they had this bit where like, I think they had like 10 to 15 people, maybe 20 people could come up, and they've got like 20 to 30 seconds to say what, I don't know, deliver a pitch or whatever. And I was thinking, do I go up? Do I go up? Because a big I say fear and want of mine is public speaking. So I want to be able to gain the confidence to go up and do public speaking and be fine with it. So I was like, you know what? Let me go up and do it. And I think I managed to go up and do it, and then I managed to go up and do it the next time. And I think I've done it at other places as well. So it kind of helps to gain that confidence, and nothing comes of it. In fact, nothing came of it because of me. I feel after going up and speaking and just delivering my pitch and saying exactly what I'm here for, off the back of that, I think I had certain people come to me afterwards and express an interest in wanting to know what I do or anything like that. And this is back at the start when we didn't really have anything going for us, so I didn't really know how to navigate those questions.
Yeah.
If I was in that position again, I would know exactly how to execute those conversations,
Yeah.
and something would definitely happen from that. So I feel like there's one in Croydon that you always say, oh, I can't be bothered to go to, but I'm like, I want to go back to that because I'm now seeing that place in a new light. Before it was just to go there because
It was
it
networking.
was just networking, but now I'm like, okay, I actually see a purpose in going there. But yes, I think networking is a good thing, but again, obviously, I don't think a lot of people will understand exactly where we're coming from. And not just say it's just a black thing or anything like that. It's just a culture thing sometimes. Yeah, it's just that outsider feeling, because again, code switching is it's very
It
tiring.
is
It's
draining. I'm so
draining.
sorry.
It's
It's so
draining.
draining. It's so draining. And I think for me anyway, just like meeting with people is draining in itself. So then to have to do what you call code switching,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just a lot for me. It's a lot
yeah,
for
yeah,
me. And
yeah.
it's like holding the
Laughing
smile,
at jokes
laughing at
that you don't
jokes
even
I
find
don't get.
funny,
I
fam.
don't
Like
even
what?
get
What?
it. I don't
Do
get
you
it.
know what I mean? If
It's
they
just
ask you to repeat it, it's over.
it's
It's
literally
actually
finished.
over.
So yeah. How do you feel about in property when you join like a mentor group or like a group for additional learning? Do you think that those kind of groups do sell you dreams? Do you think that that's the culture to kind of sell what you can to get as many people on board? Or do you think there's actually quality and it comes down to you?
What do you mean?
So do you think mentorships are exactly what they say they are? Or do you think everyone's kind of mentoring because it just
Um,
generates more income?
I think it depends on the. It's weird. I think the vast majority is the second one that you said, where people just mention just because. I think there's a minority that actually are mentoring because they actually want to mentor. And it's not just obviously it's good to get paid for the knowledge that you've invested to get yourself. But people don't actually really want to help you. They just want to bring you into the community, and then you're kind of left to your own devices.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, the minority are the ones that probably aren't really the biggest,
Yeah, I think the ones that
and
aren't the
it's the
biggest are
ones
the
that are the
best.
biggest that they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, come on board,
And then
and
it's easy for you to be
it's
lost in it.
forgotten
Yeah.
and lost, and you
And I
have
think,
to be loud
yeah,
and
to be
say,
seen.
listen, I'm not getting. If you're not getting what you're like, on one of the, was it the other episode where you that dilemma when you were saying about the mentoring, like if you're not loud and demand, like, listen, I'm not being helped, or I'm not finding this useful, what do I need to do? There's so many people that just kind of wither away, and as you said it before, like, because they don't say anything, or because they're struggling in silence, they just fall away from property, because they don't get that support and stuff like that. And I guess obviously to a certain extent, so I guess to a certain extent of that is your fault because you're not reaching out for the help. But then at the same time as well, a tentative mentor would maybe be able to obviously see that something is up. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just placing too much of the responsibility on the mentor, because obviously as a mentor, if you're starting to grow your mentees, you're not gonna know everyone or know when everyone's struggling. Do you know what I mean? But there's gonna be a certain culture that you instill from when you're small to when you grow that will kind of always remain there. So if you're like a mentor, a mentee group or whatever that naturally just wants to find out wherever other people are, or in their journey, or how they're doing, other mentees will start asking other mentees. It's a kind of like a principle that will be instilled in that group, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I do think that there is a culture now of everyone just becoming mentors. I think we are now a part of that season. We're not doing it because of that, but we are part of that season. And I think it's becoming a lot harder for people wanting to get into property to find the right mentor for them.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the culture. Do you know what? It's like, again, all of a sudden we're seeing everybody want to mentor. I can't say that that's come from us, but it's interesting that we've kind of posted things about it, and then we've not had any messages or like, oh yeah, we want to start this. Like, do you know how to, like, someone came to us and asked us, oh, we're starting a podcast. Can I have some questions about this? That's absolutely fine. But in the same breath, I could also argue that we've never had any compliments about starting it. But do you know what I mean? So I think it really it does. I don't know.
I
It's
think
it's really hard. It's
I
really
think
hard because
yeah.
you always want to be professional, but at the same time, I think it's really honest to be to. It's really important to be honest about how the property world is treating you. I've
Yeah.
seen some horrendous situations, and I will always go back to this situation. It's not my story to tell, but two really lovely people who were involved in our mentorship that we had from before, and they were getting no support when things were like not working out for them,
Yeah.
and it's so much so that it's put them off property. And actually they had an incredible, what's the word I'm looking for, they defo could have made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had a credible platform between themselves, money wise. Like, I think they could have made it, but sadly, because people didn't take the time to work with them and to encourage them and to help them move past the hurdles and to use their expertise to help them become experts, they are now scarred. I know if we brought them an opportunity in 2 years' time and we were like, we're going to fund this and you guys manage it for us,
Yeah.
they would be like, yeah. Because I know that they trust us as people. Again, people we've met who I can wholeheartedly say that person and that couple there have the best heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Genuine connection that's been made there. But there are not so many people out there like that. I don't know. I just feel like, I would love to say more positives about the property world, but I do think it eliminates people at the bottom. And I know you always have to be the best of the best.
Survival
We've
of the
even had,
fittest.
one of the biggest BRR legends, should I say, property legends, say stuff about people in service accommodation. And when I responded back to it, we then had a follow-up message of like, clearly you've been offended by this. Well, yeah, because this is how I'm making my bread and butter. And unless
Yeah.
you're about to put money on the table for me to help me out, I think really the best thing to do is slightly pipe down
Yeah.
and let everybody at the bottom do what they need to do to get to the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
remember
think there's too much of this, like, I'm better than you, I'm worth more than you. And no, I question whether people are genuinely trying to help. But do you know what? Maybe we'll do a part two of this at some point.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
was
it's not to be
even just,
negative.
yeah, it's not even to be
It's well,
negative.
it is negative, but it's not to be negative. It's to be
Yeah,
real and honest about how we've interacted with the property world.
yeah. But even going back to something that you were saying about the, obviously seeing people mentor and like obviously doing mentoring now and stuff like that, and no one's really said anything. I kind of thought to myself, like, why is it that sometimes when we go or we start doing something, we start seeing other people do things? And again, I don't know if it's a case of like, I feel like when you go into new rooms, you see
New
people
things, yeah,
that
for
you
sure,
see
for
new things.
sure. I do understand
So
that.
let's say we start doing mentoring, we're gonna start seeing more people who are doing mentoring. Let's say if we start at our
But my thing is
BRR
not
journey,
seeing
we're
them do
starting to see people
mentoring.
that are doing more
My
BRR
thing is
things.
not seeing them do mentoring. My thing is seeing them do mentoring after us, but not having said anything. Let's
But
be
it doesn't
real.
have
Let's be.
yeah, but it doesn't
But
have to be.
no, I'm not saying that at all.
Mm,
I feel like what I'm not going to ignore is that these are the same people that will ask me questions about
yeah,
things.
yeah.
These are the. This is not someone who just watches. People who just watch our stories and be like, get on with their day. And it's just entertainment for them to watch our stories and our stuff. These are
Mm,
people who ask me questions when they need help with something. These are people who ask us, oh, can you help us with this? Or
mm,
is it
mm,
okay if you do this? Or I'd love to be on this with you. But don't say anything when you're actually achieving. I'm very careful of those people. And like I said before in the previous episodes, yeah,
mm,
it's
mm.
like I do need to be careful because I do assume a lot that not everybody's intention is pure. But I also am not going to ignore a gut feeling because when it comes down to it and when you guys are stuck, you know who you're coming to. And that's not to be big headed. That's because we will offer support and we will be like, I'm sorry that's happening to you guys. Here, try this solution. But when it comes down to actually giving us like our accolades and things, or saying, do you know what, you've done this amazingly, or do you know, I'm really proud of you. If we scroll through our DMs, the amount of people who've been like, wow, this is amazing, we're super proud of you, we support you, we repost this, we like this. When you've only got one like on your flipping post, not even because we started with 1 like, 2 likes, 3 likes, and not getting that much
Yeah,
interaction.
yeah,
But
yeah.
when you're in them situations and I can see that, I will merely just even interact in that post because I know that post is what is going to need it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
attentive to other people climbing up.
yeah,
And I feel
yeah.
like it's not the responsibility, but if you're really calling it a community, then act like one.
And
Act like
I
one.
think as well, part of why it's easy to feel like that as well is because sometimes when you do reach out and ask for like any advice on certain things,
Silence.
silence,
Silence. Oh,
and
I
you
don't
don't get
know.
that.
I don't know. I've never done that before. But I
Yeah,
just saw you post. Okay, never mind.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's harsh.
yeah,
And again, I know what the comments are going to be like. No one owes you anything. No one did. But I feel like don't call something a community if it doesn't feel like one. We're just in property. I'm not necessarily sure that it's the most beautiful or creative. Like, for
I wouldn't
example,
even say it's just. I wouldn't even say it's just property. I feel like
there are a lot of
if we went
communities
out
out there
into
like
the
trading or whatever.
modeling,
Yeah, I agree.
trading,
I do
all
agree.
of
But
that
there are
stuff, like
spaces
fashion
where things are nice. Like
industry.
I always say the TikTok community in comparison to the Instagram community are so different.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like if they don't have anything nice to say on TikTok, they won't say it at all. Whereas Instagram, I feel like it's a real it's a competition thing. I think
yeah,
there's a lot of competing,
yeah,
and I'm not even saying we're an exemption of that, but I
yeah.
do think. Listen, I'm gonna stand firmly in my position. I don't like to lie or sugarcoat things. I personally feel like the connections that we have made through property have not always felt genuine, and I don't feel that property is always a genuine place. And I think if no one ever speaks about it, I feel like it's kind of just swept under the carpet and you just got to make do. But it's like, no, if I'm interacting with your post, I want to see you win and I want to help you and I want you to be better, not even that I have anything to do with that level up, but I do want to
You
see
just want
people
to,
win.
yeah.
And if I feel like you're asking me
You're
all the
doing what
questions
you can to
under the
contribute to that.
sun, but then you want to act, them people that are, like I said, and I'm going to round this off because we've gone on too long, but them people who literally have an alert on my, you can't tell me you don't have an alert because every time I upload within seconds, you are on there.
Yeah, yeah,
Them people, but who have never said anything to me, but you watch and interact everything from beginning to end, that's scary. And those are the people I'm coming for. I'm not necessarily coming for, sometimes you might not want to say anything, or sometimes you might not like our stuff, and that's okay.
yeah.
And there's no
Or you
reason
might
for you
just be
to
busy.
or you might just be busy, whatever your reason is.
Yeah,
But it's not necessarily them, it's the ones that are not really speaking too much, but are in the background, always there when you're posting something, see everything that you post, but never, ever, ever, ever interact or tell you that you've done something well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's my thing. But anyway, maybe we'll make a part 2. Maybe we'll make a more positive one of like,
I think
you
it
know,
needs that. I
it
think
does
it
need
needs
that.
that.
We dressed the whole community down. So maybe we need to dress them back up.
If that's
And we're a
possible.
part of that community. So we're not exempt from this. And it's stuff that we're learning from as well and trying to do better on. So hopefully we do become better on it. Hopefully I don't continue to be crazy and assume things. But I will always stick with my gut feeling. It just is what it is and it's who I am.
Yeah.
The end.
The end.
Until next
The
time.
end. Thank you for watching to the end, guys. We really appreciate it. As a little thank you gift to you, we'd like to give you an invite to join our free WhatsApp community where we drop a lot of gems.
If you're still watching, then thank you so much. But more importantly, if you could like and subscribe to this channel to help us bring you more content that we know you'll just love.